Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone watching. I will just give a quick introduction. My name is Clark Zeus Lirio from ABM 11 Y1-3 under the supervision of Sir Manolo Galanga. Today, I am going to tackle about the topic, buying and selling. At first, when we hear about the phrase buying and selling, we usually think about trading of goods, exchanging of money, and such. But then, let us define what the term buying actually means.
Here are the list of things that we are going to be discussing in this video. First, we have the buying, then the selling, and then we have markup and markdown. Let us start with buying first. Buying is to acquire possession, ownership, or rights to the use or services of by payment, especially of money. This means that the buyer is wanting to receive products and or services in condition that the seller is expecting to receive some form of payment, usually by money. Okay, so next we have selling. Selling is to give up property to another for something of value, such as money. Here, the seller is offering to exchange his or her products or services in exchange for something, usually by money. Now let us move on to both markup and markdown. For markup, it is an amount added to the cost price to determine the selling price. For example, when a product is highly in demand but low on supply, value is added to the original price in order to compensate for the lack of supply for more profit. Next is markdown. It is an amount by which an original selling price is reduced. And for example, during 11/11 sellers put a discounted price on their products to make the marketing more attractive for the buyers.
Let us look at example number 1 here. A store purchases a jacket at a wholesale price of 50 pesos and sells it with a 40% markup. Calculate the selling price. So to get our selling price, we put the original price first and then we just multiply it to the percentage. And to get the percentage, we just have to move the percent or the number by 2 decimal places to the left. So that would be 50 times 0.40, and 50 times 0.40 would equate to 20. And so 50 plus 20, which is how we will get our selling price, is equal to 70 pesos.
Example number 2, we have a retailer sells a smartphone for $300, which includes a 25% markup rate on the wholesale cost. What was the original cost? As we see here, to get our cost, we place the original price at the top and then divide it by 1 plus the percentage. So the constant here is 1, meaning it's always in the formula. You have to add it to the percentage, which you have already turned it to 0.25, or you've already converted it into decimal. And so we get 300 over 1.25, which will equate to $240. So for number 3, we have a retailer buys a product for 80 pesos. They apply a 30% markup, and after a month, they increase the selling price by an additional 15%. What is the final selling price? So we have here 80 plus 80 times 0.30, and that would equate to 80 plus 24. And that will equate to 104 pesos. Now we take the 104 pesos and we do the same process. So 104 plus 104 times 0.15 because of the additional 15%. That will be 104 plus 15.60. And the selling price would now be 119.60 pesos. Let's go to Markdown, and for the first example in Markdown, a store prices a pair of shoes at 80 pesos. Due to a lack of customers, they offer a 25% discount. What is the new price? This one is quite similar to markup, except we will be using subtraction. So to get our markdown, we do 80 multiplied by the percentage. This time here is 0.25, and instead of adding them, we will be subtracting them. So to get the selling price, it's 80 minus 20, which will equate to 60 pesos. Let's go to example 2 of Markdown. A store sells a coat for $90. After a 20% markdown, what's the original price? So you get the 90 as the final price actually. So 90 is the final price, and then we divide it by 1 minus 0.20. So 1 here is a constant once again. And then we get 90 over 0.80. And the answer here would be $111.50. And I will give the final example for a markdown. A phone is originally priced at $600 during first sale. It's marked down by 15%, and during later sale, an additional 10% markdown is applied. So we've got 600, and we will need to minus it or subtract it with 600 multiplied by 0.15 or the percentage or the rate, and that will equal to 600 minus 90, and if we subtract those two, it will equate to 510. And now we repeat the process. 510 minus 510 multiplied by 0.10 is equals to 510 minus 5, and we get the final price of 459. I have here some questions that you guys may or may not want to answer for both markup and markdown. I have three questions for markup and 3 questions for markdown. Here are the questions. I will read them to you guys. For number 1 in markup, a store buys coffee machine at a wholesale price of $120 and sells it with a 25% markup. What is the selling price? For number 2, a retailer sells a bicycle for $200. After applying a 40% markup on the wholesale cost, what was the original price? On number 3, a store buys a gaming console for $150. They mark it up by 20% and after a month apply an additional 10% increase. What is the final selling price? And for markdown,
A handbag is originally priced at $60. It is marked down by 15% during a sale. What is the sale price? Number 2, a store sells a tablet for $255 after a 15% markdown. What was the original price of the tablet? And finally, number 3, a camera is priced at $400. During the holiday sale, it is marked down by 20% and receives an additional 10% of the reduced price. What is the final sale price? I will give you guys 5 seconds to pause the video and try these. Here are the correct answers for markup. So please do check your answer and analyze. If you got it correct, then good job. And here are the answers, the correct answers for markdown questions. If you also got it correct, good job. And remember guys, as someone said before, life's a math equation. In order to gain the most, you have to know how to convert negatives into positives.
That is all. I hope you learned something valuable about buying and selling. Thank you very much for taking your time to listen, everyone.